So is that the one we did today?
Today we're going to be finding the volume of pyramids and cones. So first let's look at the volume formula for a pyramid. It's the area of our base, capital B, times by our height, h, divided by 3. And then the area of our cone, the volume of our cone is pi times our radius squared, divided by 3. So let's look at this pyramid and let's find the volume. So we have the volume equals the area of our base times by height, divided by 3. So if we're taking here the area of our base, we're working with a square. So the area to find our square is side squared, so 15 squared, which is an area of 225 feet squared. So then our height, which is right here, is 14. So 225 times by 14 is 3,150, and divide that by 3. We have the volume of this pyramid is 1,050 feet cubed. So to find the volume of the square pyramid, here is our base, which is that square. So the volume equals the area of our base times our height divided by 3. We're working with the square, which is an 8 by 8. So the area of a square is side squared, so 8 squared, which is 64. We do not know the height of our pyramid, but we do know the slant. So if we take the triangle that's formed, we don't know the height. We know the slant is 7 2/10. And we can find that this distance, if our whole square is 8, is 4 inches long. So let's use the Pythagorean theorem to find our missing side length. So h squared plus 4 squared equals 7 2/10 squared. 4 squared is 16. 7 2/10 squared is 51 8400ths. Then we can subtract 16. So h squared equals 35 8400ths. So lastly, we're going to square root both sides to find the length of our height. So the square root of 35 8400ths is 5.5 9900ths. So our height is 5 9900ths. So 64 times 5 9900ths is 383 3600ths. Divide that by 3. We end up with a volume of 127 79 inches cubed. For our cone formula, the h is supposed to be there, so it's pi r squared times by the height, then divided by 3. So let's find the volume of the cone. So we're using the volume formula, which is pi times our radius squared times by the height, divided by 3. So here we already know our radius, which is 13 inches. We already know our height, which is 14 inches. We're dividing it by 3. So 13 squared is 169. Doesn't say in terms of pi, it says to use 3.14. So 3.14 times by 169 times by 14. We have a volume of 7,429 2400ths divided by 3. So lastly, once we divide by 3, our volume is 2,476 4100ths inches cubed. Let's find the volume of the cone in terms of pi. We want to round to the nearest cubic meter. So the volume of our cone is pi times our radius squared times by the height divided by 3. So in this case, our diameter is 55. So if we divide that in half to find our radius is 27 5/10. We're going to square that. And the height of our cone is 70 meters. So 27 and 5/10 squared is 756. 2500ths times by 70. So 756 and 2500ths times by 70, because we want to leave this in terms of pi. We end up with 52,937 and 5/10 pi divided by 3. So the last thing we want to make sure is we divide it by 3, making sure we leave our answer in terms of pi. So it's 17,645 rounded 8 times pi, but rounded to the nearest cubic meter. So it's 17,646 pi meters cubed. Lastly, we have a machinist drilled a cone-shaped hole into a solid cube of metal as shown. If the cube has sides of length 7 centimeters, so 7, 7, 7, what is the volume of the metal after the hole is drilled? So we first can find the volume of our prism, or our cube. So the volume equals the area of our base times by the height. So the area of our base is a square. So that means our area is 7 squared, which is 49. So the area of our base is 49 times by the height, which is 7. And 49 times by 7 is 343. So that's the area of our cube of metal. Or sorry, the volume of our cube of metal. So then let's find the volume of our cone, which is pi times radius squared times by the height, divided by 3. Well, first of all, we need to find our radius. So if this is the diameter of our cone, which is 7 centimeters, the radius is half of 7. So it's 3½ squared. And the height of our cone is this distance, which is 7 centimeters. Oops, divided by 3. So 3 5/10 squared is 12 2500ths. Times by 7. This is not in terms of pi, so we're using 3.14 and 4 pi, so 3.14 times by 12 2500ths times by 7 is 269 2600ths divided by 3. The volume equals 89 7500ths centimeters cubed. So lastly, if we know what the prism is in the cone is what we took out of when we drilled into the metal. So we subtract the 89 7500ths from the 343. So the volume of what's left of our metal cube is 253 2500ths centimeters cubed.